also in this discussion. Sreesankar, good afternoon. Let's talk about banks first, because quite clearly that's one space where we've seen a bit of pressure today, especially in the private sector ones. But how are you positioned on this particular sector?
See, earlier the gentleman mentioned about the growth in GDP, and we believe that if the market has to move up, one factor is domestic earnings has to go, domestic economy has to grow. And if you believe that that is going to be the area where the growth is going to come from, banking is going to be the single most area one needs to be overweight, and we can't live without it. Second part is, within banking, the private sector space has done phenomenally well. So at some point of time, there is going to be some profit booking, which we'll see in private sector space. And on the contrary, for all the outperformance that private sector have had, the PSU bank space has been beaten down quite a lot. And not without reason, with a valid reason, that the asset quality has taken a knock. And many of these banks, even today, if every quarter comes out with some performance which gives shock to the market, at some point of time, this will get corrected. But the fact remains that in the space, the banking space, we continue to prefer the private sector banks for the clarity and the kind of guidance that they have given, whereas public sector banks, to my mind, is still groping in the dark.
So call on IT, it's underperformed in general. Today, of course, it's bounced back.
We are not so negative on IT. We like IT. And but if you look at the entire portfolio, here's KPIT in particular, then there was a guidance which came from Persistent, and we had Mindtree also a bit under pressure. In fact, KPIT is one of the stock which we had recommended to the clients. The stock has, when the company came and gave a profit guidance and issues with it, we believe that in our note we have clearly mentioned that we like the story, and Q1 of FY16, the current quarter, is going to be soft. We also believe that Q2 will be probably better than Q1, but I don't think a much more clear view will come out of even Q2. We believe that the company's performance should start to kick in from Q3, with all the problems of Q4 and Q1 behind them in Q2, and start improving from Q3. So we think it's more of a good long-term story from 12 to 18 months perspective, and not a short-term story. What we also believe is that there will be a lot of investors who probably have got into the stock at around 200 plus levels, etc. They may be, if the numbers are not going to be good, they could be becoming nervous and unloading the stock. So we like, from a valuation perspective, the story very well.
All right.
Come in on that. It's been 2 consecutive weeks of good gains for the Nifty. What's your sense in the coming week? Which is the big cue we need to watch out for, which might make or break the markets on either way?
I don't think that it is going to be a make or break for the market in the near term. The key question is what's going to happen to Greece. If Greece goes out, if there is an exit or any one of those sides, there has to be some knee-jerk reaction around the emerging markets. So probably you'll see the currency coming under pressure, a short-term kind of funds movement all around the place, and that could become the market a bit nervous at that point of time. And I don't think that you're going to get a clear-cut direction for a medium term from it. But to me, the key is how the corporate results will start to come in from there, and what the companies are going to give in directions and commentaries in terms of their prospects going forward in terms of growth. The key factor is, the growth is not going to, they don't have much of a visibility, and because of it, corporate performance has been pretty lackluster in Q4, to say the least. So I think that's going to be much more crucial going forward.
IPO activity. So Cafe Coffee Day has filed its DRHP with SEBI for an IPO, and they're looking to raise around 1,150 crores. Sreesankar, you just want to quickly comment on this. Would you be an interested party in terms of Cafe Coffee Day?
No, that will be the first of the block in terms of an IPO of a company of that nature. So there will be a lot of interest from investors. But again, people will be keen to know what is there, and obviously interesting story.
Okay.